Thank you very much. Let me welcome you to my Zone African Motives. I want us to accounting grade 11. So we are going to do a revision on accounting grade 11, and today we are on activity 6. So let us revise the activity 6 today, the grade 11s, as to prepare for us for the examination that you're going to write, and as well as this March test that you're going to write, term 1 test. So that is that. So let's quickly go to activity 6. Let's quickly go to activity 6. So here is our activity 6, where we are going to do creditors reconciliation. This is what you are mainly going to look at. We are going to look at what? Creditors reconciliation. We are saying it's a creditors reconciliation. Creditors reconciliation. Creditors reconciliation. So this is what we are going to look at today, good people. So without wasting much time, let's attend to it. As it says, the information below relates to Bus BC stores for September 2018. Now required now. Provide two reasons why it is important for the business to prepare the creditors reconciliation statement each month. So you have to give the reasons why the business are to prepare creditors reconciliation each month. 6.2, calculate the correct creditors control account balance after taking into account relevant errors and omissions. So that is that we are to make sure that we are going to correct the creditors control account. 6.3, calculate the correct balances for Sebo suppliers and Leo wholesalers by taking into account the errors as well as omissions. So we have the information A. As you can see, that the information A is the balance and totals on 30 September 2018 before the errors and omissions can occur. So these are the balance and totals before errors and omissions can occur. So they are the balances and total of on 30 September 2018. So now coming to information B. This is where we are going to look at the errors as well as omissions. So that is that. So now let us start with question 6.1 to attempt that question 6.1. So 6.1, as it says, provide two reasons why it is important for business to prepare the creditors reconciliation statement. So you'll find that the reasons is to detect errors and fraud. The reasons are to detect errors and fraud. Fraud. To detect errors and fraud. Like if numbers don't match, something is wrong. So, for example, we can talk of the missing invoice. So that is the reason why we are of us preparing creditors reconciliation statement. We want to detect the errors and the fraud. That is that. Another reason for us to prepare this creditors reconciliation statement is because we want to compare records. Compare records with supplier statements. With suppliers statements. That is that. You ensure what you owe equals to what the supplier says you owe. That is why we are saying you compare reconciliation with supplier statements. Hope we get that, good people. So let's go to our answers again to try to see or support the ones that we have given. As you can see here, it says, remember we were to provide reasons of why it is important to prepare creditors reconciliation statement. So and the first one is it helps to detect fraud and errors and omissions, like I have said. That is when numbers do not match, that is, it means that there is something that is wrong. Also, it helps to identify difference between the balance in the statement and balance in the business records. So that is that. And it is also internal control measure for creditors. So those are the reasons why we are to prepare this creditors reconciliation statement. So now let us come to the second question, 6.2. We are asked to calculate the correct creditors control account balance after taking into account errors and omissions. So that is that. So 6.2, we are to look at the creditors control account. And we are first going to start by the starting balance. We're going to start by the starting balance. So we are going to say a starting balance. Yeah, we are saying we are on 6.2. We are first going to talk about the starting balance. Starting balance. So you'll find that our starting balance is how much? Is 87,690. So one can ask, where did we get this amount? So we are talking about this amount. Remember, it is found under information A. It's found under A, where we are talking about the balance and totals. So the first balance that we're going to talk about is what? 87,690. So that is that. Now we can now adjust only items that affect the control account. That's when we're talking about general ledger. So now we're going to look at only items that affect what? The control account. That is when we're talking about general ledger. That is that. So we first have to now understand A, we can say A, where we have to understand that undercast by, there is an undercast by 5,020. 5,020, and we have to increase that. So where is that undercast of 5,080? This is the information. The creditors control was undercast by this much, 5,020. It was undercast by this much. So we are going to say undercast by 5,008, and we are to increase that. If it was undercast, so as we are to increase it, we are increasing it by 5,020. So that is that. So let us go to B and try to find the other, try to find another adjustments that are needed that affect our control account. So let us go to the errors and omissions, because we are preparing this after we have taken account the errors and omissions. As you can see here, it says a credit invoice for trading stock purchased from several suppliers for 12,800 on 28 September 2020 was not recorded at all. So this was not what recorded. 12,800. This is a missing invoice. This is a missing invoice because it was not recorded at all. This is a missing invoice. So now we are to do that on information B, whereby we are going to find what? Missing invoice of how much? Missing invoice of 12,800. Missing invoice of 12,800. So it means you're talking about the purchase increase creditors. So the purchases increases what? Creditors. We know that the purchases, let me write it. Purchases increases what? Increases creditors. Purchases increase creditors. So therefore we have to have what? Increase. Once it talks about the invoice, it means we bought goods from suppliers on credit, and this invoice was missing. So what we do, we have to make sure that we do what? We are going to adjust that by making sure that the purchases is going to show what? The increase. of our creditors. Of how much, good people? Of 12,800. Hope we are still together. So now we are to come to see now. We are to come to see and try to see what C holds for us, as you can see. So C talks about a payment of 3,150 to Leo Wholesalers and was posted as an invoice in the creditors ledger, and the church payment journal was correct. So this one, it means now we are just to leave it for now and then come to information D. So let us come to information D, because remember we have said we are going to do only items that do affect our creditors control. So if it doesn't affect the creditors control, we are to leave it. So let us hear what a D holds for us. Then we'll take it from there. D says a debit note of 1,208 for goods returned to the civil suppliers was recorded in the creditors journal in error. Get that straight. It was recorded in creditors journal in error. So it means this transaction do affect our creditors journal and posted to the general ledger accordingly. In the general ledger, it was correct. Get it? Posting to creditors ledger was correctly done from the document. That's what we are told. So now, what does that mean now? So it means now for a debit note, we have a debit note of 1,280. So what should happen? What was supposed to happen is what was supposed to happen with this transaction is that we're supposed to have a debit note, that is a returns. We know very well that a debit note is a returns. Let's just do it together so that we get to what was supposed to be done. A debit note, we're talking about a debit note. What was supposed to have that we are saying we're having debit note, we know that is a returns to supplier. Once you're talking about the debit note, you know very well we're talking about the returns to supplier. So what we're supposed to have was to say we are going to have account and entry. Let's say we have account and then we have entry. So what is our account? So we're going to have creditors control. Creditors control, and then we have what? A debit note. Entry level, a debit note of how much? Of 1,208. So we know very well this is going to reduce a amount owed. It's going to reduce amount owed. This is what we have. And then we are going to have stable suppliers. Now we're going to have what? Stable suppliers. Stable suppliers. Now, even stable suppliers, you're going to have what? A debit note of how much? A debit note of 1,280. That is when we're talking about the creditors ledger now, individual account. This is what was supposed to happen. This is what was supposed to happen, to say this is recorded correctly. But what likely had happened now? What likely had happened is that D, remember we are on D. What likely had happened is that because you are told that there was an error. Remember we are told that there was an error. Wherever the question says recorded in the creditors journal in error. So it means that the most common mistake that was done is that it was recorded as a credit instead of debit. So instead of this correct control, whereby we're supposed to see in under this control account, under the control account, remember we're supposed to say debit 1,208. Instead of doing like this, them they did this way. What they did this. They did this. Them they did this. They created 1,280, which is wrong. Which is wrong. That's what they did. Instead of debiting 1,200, they created 1,208. That is where the error occurred. That is where the error occurred. So the effect of that mistake, it is going to increase what? The effect is that this is going to increase creditors. This is going to increase creditors, which is wrong. Because remember, this was for goods returned. If you can remember that this is a debit note of 1,200 for goods returned was recorded in creditors journal in error. So it was recorded here in error. So it means it was credited. So once it's credited, it's going to increase what? The creditors. It's going to increase creditors. While this is not supposed to that. It's supposed to reduce the amount that the business owe. So this is the error that had happened. This is the error that had happened. So now, what are we going to do now to make sure that we correct this? So for us to correct this, we are going to now make sure that we reverse the wrong entry. Whereby now we are going to do like this, good people. When you reverse the wrong entry, now we are to reverse the wrong entry. Reverse wrong entry. So we're going to reverse the wrong entry. We must reverse the wrong entry by making sure that we are going to remove wrong effect. So we're going to remove wrong effect of 1280. That is where we are saying remove a wrong effect. You remove wrong effect. That is that. And then you're going to also have 1,280 whereby you apply now. Apply a correct effect. Correct effect. Wrong effect because it was added to creditors control. Wrong effect because this was what? This increased our creditors, while at least this was supposed to reduce the amount owed. It was not supposed to be credited here. So it was supposed to be debited under control account. It was supposed to be debited. So the reason why here we are saying we are applying the correct effect, but we're still saying minus, it is because this 1,280. So it's going to reduce the amount owned by our our business. So it's going to reduce their amount owed. Because once it's debited under the control account, it means those goods are returned. It means now, if they are returned, it means they are faulty or they are errors. Now the business is no longer going to owe those business. So we are saying this is going to be it's going to be reduced. It's going to be reduced. It's going to reduce the amount owed. Here we are removing it because it's not supposed to be in the creditors. It's not supposed to increase our creditors. It's not supposed to increase our creditors. So we have to remove it. It's a wrong effect. Here we minus it because it's going to reduce the amount owed. Hope we are together. So that is where you see it is going to be 1280 minus 1280. That is, it's like this. Here it is removed from the wrong entry. Here it's minus because it's going to reduce the amount owed. Hope we understand all this. So now let us move on to E now. Let us move on to E. So if we can see E, it says value added tax of 1,720 was omitted from an invoice from Sebo suppliers. So this value added tax of 1,700 was omitted from an invoice. It was omitted from the invoice of sale supplies. So value added, uh, for us to correct it now, we're going to say VAT increase amount owed. So that is supposed to be increased by 1,700. So what we are going to do, we are going to make sure that the VAT omitted, we are saying is how much? VAT omitted is 1,720. It's 1,720. So we have to increase that because it was omitted. So as we are to bring it back, and that will show increase. VAT increase amount owed. Amount owed as it was omitted. So we need to see this increase. So we have to bring it back by making sure that it's going to be added because it's going to increase the amount owed of how much? 1,720. Hope we are still together with people. So that is E. So now let us go to another thing. So equipment purchased on credit from Blackburn manufacturers 4,900 was incorrectly posted to account of Leo Research. It doesn't affect our control account or our control account here. So an invoice of 3,525 from Cebu suppliers was incorrectly posted as 3,372 to their account in the creditors ledger. So the posting to general ledger was correct. So now let us do like this. So now let us do like this. Now what we can do now is to now add this to have our final calculation now. Now we are to have our final calculation now. We are to have our final calculation on 6.1. Remember, we are still on 6.1. So our final calculation, this is where we're going to start with 87,690. Remember, that is the amount, the starting balance. Then we are going to add 5,020. If you can still remember the 5,020, that was the amount that was undercast. This is the undercast. So the total was added two below, then we were to increase it, remember, by 5,020. So also we have to add 12,800. So the 12,800, if you can remember, well, that was a missing invoice. The missing invoice. Then we have to add it. If you can remember, we were to make sure that our purchases is going to increase, whereby you're going to increase our creditors. So that was with this amount, 12,800. So now we are to have what? Minus now. So we have added 12,800. So this is our 12,800. Now we are to now minus 12,000, not 12,000, but 1,280 minus 1,280. So hope you still remember that. 1,280 is that debit note for returns. These are the amounts for returns. You remember very well that we've said we were to remove this 1,280 from a control account where it was credited wrongly. And then we are removing it. Yes, it's going to as well again what? Reduce the amount owed. So remember that amount very well. Then now we have to add again 1,720. So it is supposed to be added. So this one, it was for value added tax. So now we are to get what? The total of those. The correct control account. We have to get what? Correct control account. So correct control account is how much? 104,670. That's when you add all this together. So it means our control account is equal to 104,670. Hope you understand this very well. So we can just go to our answers. As you can see, this is what has been calculated. 6.2 in fact. So these are the amounts that we did together with you, and the correct answer is this. Thank you. So sorry, this was supposed to be 6.2. We did 6.1. So now we are to attend to another question, 6.3. 6.3 says calculate the correct balances for creditors, Zero suppliers and Leo wholesalers by taking into account the errors and omissions. So now we are on 6.3. 6.3. So let us attend to it. So now we're going to say 6.3. So 6.2, we're talking about the creditors balances, whereby now we are going to fix individual creditors now. We are going to fix individual creditors. So the starting the starting balance here, we're going to have the starting amount is going to equal to 16,580. This is the amount that is for Sebo suppliers. You're going to start with Sebo suppliers. So let's start with this supplier first, Sebo supplier. So the starting amount for Sebo supplier is 16,580. So now we are to have adjustments now. Under that, adjustments. So now we are to have adjustment. So as we can see, we're going to talk about any adjustments that talks about Sebo suppliers. So now let us go to those adjustments, error and omission. So you can see the B do affect what? A Sebo supplier. Here it talks about Sebo supply. It says a credit invoice for credit stock purchase from Sebo suppliers for 12,800 on 20 September was not recorded at all. So what we are going to do, we are going to make sure that this is going to be recorded. So for that matter, we are going to say B, let's show that is B, missing invoice. So it means this was a missing invoice. This was a missing invoice. And then we are to make sure that you're going to add it back. That is 12,800. It's 12,800. So now let us go and see any adjustment that talks about Zebo supplier. Okay. We can see now C is a payment of 3,000 to Leo wholesalers. You can see that it doesn't affect Zebo supply. Coming to D, a credit note for return for Zebo suppliers was recorded in creditors journal. That is recorded in creditors journal and then posted to general ledger accordingly. Posting to, so now we are not going to do that. We are going to look at E. Value added tax of 1,700 was omitted in an invoice from Zebo suppliers. So we're going to do this one, which is E. So E is about what? The value added tax that was omitted, which is we are to add it 1,720. Also, we are to go to F. We can see F doesn't affect the Zebo suppliers, but G is it an invoice of 3,575 from Zebo suppliers was incorrectly posted as 3,325 to their account in creditors list. So the posting to the general ledger was correct. So here we are to do what? Posting is a posting error. It's a posting error. So that is G, wherever we're talking about the posting error. So with this posting error, we are going to say we want the correct. Correct is what, how much is 3,575. But what is recorded? Recorded is equal to 3,375. So now we have to look for difference now. We have to look for difference. So the difference you can see is plus 200. So that is that we have to add this 200. So that is that. So now we are now to make sure that we are going to add this. So now we are to get the total of this under zero suppliers, under zero suppliers. So whereby we are going to have what? The starting balance, which is 16,580 plus 12,800 plus 1,720 and plus 200. Then we get the total of 31,300. So that is that for possible suppliers. Hope we get it. That is that for possible suppliers. So you can see when you come to this given answers, here it is, whereby we have this starting balance, we have this much, and then all of them, they give us this total, that balance. So now we are to do the Leo suppliers. We are to do Leo suppliers. So now, like we have said, now we're going to do the Leo wholesalers. So it means now we are going to, we are still on 6.3, but now under Leo wholesalers, 6.3. So now we are under Leo wholesalers. So here we're going to have a starting balance. So we're going to have the starting balance of how much? 29,520. So we're talking about this amount. Now we go to the adjustment and see the ones that do affect what? Our Leo wholesalers. So we can see now C, as it says, a payment of 3,150 to Leo wholesalers was posted as an invoice in the creditor's ledger, and the cash payment was correct. So this do affect our Leo wholesalers. The payment of 3,150 to Leo wholesalers was posted as an invoice in the creditor's ledger, and the cash payment was correct. So we're going to have a payment posted as invoice. Payment posted as invoice. So the payment of 3,150 should increase what? Creditors. Should decrease creditors, but it was recorded as an invoice. It means it increases what? Creditors. What was done is like this. The payment of 3,150 should decrease creditors, should decrease creditors by right, creditors. But it was recorded as an invoice. This was recorded as an invoice. Recorded as an invoice. So once it's recorded as an invoice, it means now it's going to increase what? Creditors. It's going to increase what? Creditors. So this is wrong. So we are saying it was supposed to decrease the creditors, but it was now recorded as an invoice. So it means now it increases our creditors. And we are saying this is wrong. We are saying this is wrong. We are saying this is wrong. The right thing was supposed to be, the right thing was supposed to decrease creditors, not to increase creditors. Hope you understand that. So the error impact means that now we are going to go for double effect now, whereby we're going to remove wrong increase. We are going to remove wrong increase, and then let us do it this way so that we can try to understand it very well. So let us do it like this. Um, let us do it like this so that we understand it better. So we are saying uh, we are saying, well, we are trying to find out what we must do. We are trying to find what we must do. So we are going to think of it like this. You are here. We are saying you are here. When you are here by plus 3,150. So it means you increases what? Uh, you increases what? Our creditors, which is wrong. So where you are in the wrong, you are in the wrong place. But you should be here. But you should be here. Here, when you're saying we should be here, we are talking about the correct. You should be here, whereby you decrease creditors with 3,150. So what must we do? What must we do? You are here, you are at the wrong place now with the increase of creditors. While you are supposed to decrease the creditors. You are supposed to be here where you decrease the creditors, which is correct. So what must we do now? What you're supposed to do is to move from plus 3,150 to minus 3,150. So when you add this or when you minus this, you're going to get that movement is what? 6,300 is 6,300 minus 6,300. So this is our double. This is our so we are saying this is what we are supposed to do, the double effect that we are talking about. So this is when you're going to get this amount. So now the amount that you're going to get is what? 6,300. So now let us move on to, so what is important is that you don't just cancel that. You cancel the wrong and you apply the right. This is the wrong and then you apply the right. So that is why you are not just going to say you cancel this and then you leave. You don't show us what you have applied, the correct one. So that's why we're calling it a double effect. It's a double effect. Sometimes you can just multiply this by 2 and then we get this amount. It's still fine. So that is that. So hope you understand that one. So now let us move on. So moving on, now we're going to look at another adjustment that will affect our Leo wholesalers. So now here we are on F, as it says equipment purchased on credit from Black wood manufacturers 4,900 was incorrectly posted to the account of Leo Wholesaler. So you can see that F do affect the Leo suppliers. So this is F. So the amount of that equipment was at, we are to minus 4,900. As it says, this equipment purchased on credit from the wood manufacturers of 4,900 was incorrectly posted to the account of the wholesaler. So we are to remove it. So that is why now this becomes 4,900. We have to remove that because it was incorrectly to the account of Leo wholesalers. So that is that. So hope we get to that. So now we are to do our final calculation now. Now we are to do our final calculation for Leo. Now we are to do calculation. That is when we're talking about Leo. And then we are saying we have that amount that we started with, 29,520 minus 6,300. That was that amount that was an error, if you can remember very well, whereby we were to reduce the amount owed, but we end up increasing creditors. So that is that. Then we are saying minus 4,900. You know very well 4,900. That was incorrectly entered into Leo's account. So we had to remove it. And then the total amount is 18,320. So this is our answer. So if you come to the answers, you can see it here. This is the first amount that we started with, the starting balance, then 6,300, 4,900, and this is what we have. So this is the total. So thank you very much for your time. This is the end of this presentation, and please, good people, make use of this presentation as it will help you a lot. Thank you very much.